At 89, before his passing in 2020, Sean Connery offered a rare, unfiltered glimpse into his true feelings about Roger Moore, his fellow James Bond and often-seen cinematic rival, and what he revealed surprised many because beneath decades of public comparisons, media-fueled speculation, and fan debates over who wore the tuxedo better, Connery harbored not animosity, but deep respect, admiration, and even affection for Moore, whom he ultimately saw not as a competitor, but as a comrade. In the high-stakes world of international stardom, speaking candidly in one of his last interviews, Connery acknowledged the pressure both men faced while embodying the same iconic role. Yet in completely different eras and styles, Connery's Bond was steely, dangerous, and emotionally restrained, while Moore's version leaned into charm, wit, and a more theatrical flair. Critics often pitted the two against each other, but Connery admitted that those comparisons always missed the point, saying, "Roger did what I never could. He brought levity to Bond without losing elegance," a comment that reflected not only his appreciation for Moore's performance, but his understanding of the evolving demands of the franchise. Connery also revealed that, far from being distant, the two maintained a friendship rooted in mutual understanding and shared experience, often exchanging holiday cards and brief calls, especially as both aged and withdrew from the public eye. He shared how Moore's tireless humanitarian work with UNICEF impressed him deeply, calling it the most Bond-like thing any of us ever did in real life. Yet Connery didn't shy away from the more complicated truths, either, admitting that early on, he bristled at being replaced and felt the studio had mishandled the handover, causing years of unnecessary tension. "I was stubborn back then," he said with a rueful smile, "but it wasn't Roger's fault. He did the job his way, and he did it damn well." What touched fans most, however, was Connery's recollection of Moore's final days, how the news of Moore's cancer diagnosis had shaken him, and how he wrote a personal note to Moore's family expressing both sorrow and gratitude for what his successor had brought to the screen and the world. "We were both soldiers in the same war," Connery wrote, "two very different battalions, but part of the same mission." These reflections, shared privately and later confirmed by those close to Connery, cast a new light on the so-called Bond rivalry that captivated fans for decades. They weren't enemies, they were brothers of a kind, each bringing something unique to a role that demanded both swagger and soul. At 89, Sean Connery finally said what many had hoped for, that he respected Roger Moore, not just as an actor, but as a man who handled fame with humor, responsibility, and an unshakable sense of self. In revealing this, Connery didn't just close the chapter on a fictional rivalry, he reminded the world that greatness doesn't need to overshadow others. It can stand proudly beside them. And with that truth, spoken in the twilight of his life, Connery paid his final and most meaningful tribute to the man who followed in his footsteps and walked his own path with unmistakable grace.